Online and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
A jury has been picked and opening arguments have begun in the trial of a former North Dakota Teacher of the Year. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Suspended West Fargo teacher Erin Knodel is charged with having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old student in 2009.
Valley News Team's Ashley Bishop is joining us live now from the courthouse to tell us about the opening statements. Ashley?
Good evening. The opening statements did begin today. The state prosecutor gave them, and they lasted about 20 minutes long. Prosecutors told the jurors they have multiple pieces of evidence that they plan to show throughout this trial, such as telephone logs, such as the calls that lasted up to 4 hours. They even have a Twilight novel with handwritten Post-it notes, 93 to be exact, with notes from Knodel written throughout the book. The state prosecutors, John Byers, said multiple times the state is not disputing how great of a teacher Erin Knodel is, just that he did have a sexual relationship with the student who was not 18.
It happened in the morning before school started, sometimes during the day, sometimes after school, and it was always in Erin Knodel's classroom. And there'll be other witnesses tell you and talk to you about how much time spent in Erin Knodel's classroom.
Now, Byers also revealed why the victims waited about 5 years to bring the allegations forward. She kept this secret partially to protect Knodel, and also she learned while in school to becoming a social worker that while she's counseling victims to come forward about abuse, how could she do that if she herself did not come forward? Now, the defense will bring their opening statements tomorrow at 9 a.m. here at the Cass County Courthouse, and this trial is expected to last about a week. Reporting live from the Cass County Courthouse, Ashley Bishop, Valley News Live.
Ashley, thank you. And Valley News Live will be following this for you. You can stay up to date on the latest developments by following us online and on Facebook. Just like Valley News Live on Facebook to follow all the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
Welcome rain over the weekend is giving way to a refresher course in the early stages of winter. Let's find out how Hutch has on the forecast for tonight, including how low the temperatures will drop. Hutch?
Well, thanks so much, Mike. Again, a very gusty day across the valley with winds gusting this hour still to 45 miles per hour in Fargo-Moorhead, 36-mile-per-hour gusts in Grand Forks. The wind continues to be gustiest here in the valley, and the chance for flakes continues to be highest out to the east in Lakes Country. Temperatures this evening will slip back into the low 40s, gusty north winds all the way through sunset. Then it does quiet down just a little bit for some good sleeping weather. Looks like we remain cool. There is yet another chance of some greening spring rain as opposed to snow. I'll tell you all about it coming up here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch. New information tonight on a hot topic within Moorhead Public Schools. The district released a statement today saying in part that its partnership with Special Olympics will continue. However, some aspects will change. The district's administrators say that they're pleased to work together with Special Olympics to pursue expanded activities for all students, and the district will continue to partner for the track and field event. Parents recently took exception to the district saying that support for the Special Olympics was cut due to a number of challenges with the program.
Tomorrow night could bring an unprecedented event to the history of UND. The Student Senate will decide whether to give UND's President Robert Kelly a vote of no confidence in an effort to oust him from his job. They could also table the entire issue. Student President Tanner Franklin says the main point of contention is that the administration did not allow them to see a proposal to increase tuition until they filed an open records request.
You know, I laid out the issues. I have a problem when people lie to me. I have a problem when our administration lies to the students at the University of North Dakota. It's my job to stand up for those students, and that's exactly what I did. And so I merely proposed that a vote of no confidence, be taken.
And I've clearly heard the message that the students want more communication with the administration. That has come through loud and clear.
Is that something you'll be working on?
Oh, absolutely. I think there are many things that we can do. I can certainly be more effective in my own communication with students.
We did talk with a small sampling of UND students who thought the Student Senate was going a little far. The UND's Chester Fritz Library Special Collections Department searched the school's student newspapers for us, and they did not find any votes of no confidence for a president during the school's entire history. That public UND Student Senate meeting is going to be held at UND's Memorial Union in the ballroom at 7:30 tomorrow night.
At least 100,000 United States children are known to be sold into sex trafficking each year. And today there's progress to report in Washington after a bill had been stalled for weeks because of political reasons. Language in the sex trafficking bill is modeled after Minnesota's safe harbor provision, which will help ensure that minors who are sold for sex are treated as victims, not prosecuted as criminals. The bill also would set up a fund so people who commit these crimes and lead sex rings have to pay bigger fines. That money would go into paying for shelters and housing.
Well, the victims out of this are going to get some services, mental health services. They will get help with medical help if they need it. They're going to be able to get shelter, and this money can go toward that.
Last week, the North Dakota House passed 3 bills that work together to increase penalties for criminals and provide funding for enforcement, prevention, and treatment services.
Start paying attention on the road. That is the plea from local motorcycle experts. Whether you're driving a car or a bike, they tell us roads are getting more dangerous and distracted driving could be to blame.
In fact, 6 motorcyclists have died in Minnesota, 5 in less than 1 week. Thursday, an 18-year-old died on a motorcycle in northern North Dakota after being hit by a semi. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson explains about this deadly stretch of days on the road.
They say riding a motorcycle is 30 times more dangerous than riding in a vehicle. It is a very dangerous activity, but it's something we love.
Getting into an accident. It's just part of riding a motorcycle, according to Kevin Bernier. He got hit by a deer last summer.
I hit my head really firmly on the concrete, had a subdermal hematoma, a concussion, but I got up to walk away from it. I'm pretty certain that if that would have been my skull, I think I may have been dead if I wouldn't have had a helmet on that day.
He uses his shredded gear to teach other bikers a lesson. Bernier is a motorcycle coach in West Fargo.
Cheesecloth, it's full of holes. Unfortunately, the springtime is our worst time for accidents.
He says if you're riding, make sure your bike is in good shape. Brush up on your skills and don't get arrogant. On the other hand, if you're driving a car,
please pay attention to the guys on the bikes. I mean, it not only ruins their life if you hit them, it can ruin your life too. If you hit somebody and kill them, you could very well be up for manslaughter charges, and I've seen that happen.
Nick Maynard has been riding pretty much his whole life. He claims the roads are getting more dangerous with distracted drivers.
I tore a muscle in my neck. I went up over the hood of a van.
At a stop sign in Moorhead, a minivan pulled out in front of Maynard. He says the driver wasn't paying attention.
I think he was more in shock than I was.
4 wheels or 2 wheels. Expert advice, keep both eyes on the road.
You know, you're just not used to seeing them. Take a look twice.
Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
If you're interested in taking a safety course or hearing more safety tips, we have a link on our website. Go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story.
One man was injured this morning after his car flipped in Otter Tail County. It happened shortly before 8 on Highway 10 west of New York Mills. A truck slid on an icy bridge and then went off the road, rolling down a hill on the north side. The driver is 59-year-old John C. Anderson of Bluffton, Minnesota. He suffered non-life-threatening injuries in this crash.
Plans are moving forward on a shuttle bus route between downtown Fargo and Moorhead. Fargo city planner says the 2 cities are working on details, including possible stops and how to promote and market the idea. The goal is to have the shuttle offer 15-minute service. The idea surfaced in large part because of upcoming construction on a new Fargo City Hall and the 2nd Street flood wall and the use of Moorhead Center mall ramp for parking.
The ribbon is cut and the doors are open to the new Air Force recruiting office in Fargo. To kick off the start of the new beginning, Colonel Dennis Tucker and Mayor Tim Mahoney administered the oath of enlistment to new Air Force recruits. Today, those in attendance could learn about the service's high-tech careers and look at Air Force displays. The new office is one of about 160 offices open nationwide.
I suspect there were a few cold people there.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, tips to make sure that your son or daughter is looking good at prom.
It's windy, it's cold, and in some areas we have snow on the ground. All of details on a very gradual warming trend coming up next.